Thank you, Danny and Liz. Carter, if you don't mind, the last time I was here, my voice is still a little weak. If you don't mind, hit this mic a little bit up and make me a little bit louder. I'll try to be a little bit clearer. It's good to see you again. Sorry I couldn't be with you last weekend. I understand that Brother Merkel did a wonderful job, and there are requests to have him back, so we'll do that. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter to you, mine. The primary message in the book of Acts of the early Christians as the gospel spread wasn't about the miracles of Jesus or even his teachings. It wasn't about Christmas or even the things that he did during his earthly ministry. They talked more than anything else about the resurrection. Many of the people that they were preaching to and that the first church was sharing with had seen Jesus die. And many of them, Paul says upwards of 500 different people at one particular time, had seen him after the crucifixion. Carice is happy that now she has other family members for me to talk about during my sermons. Still talk about Carice and Jonathan probably more than others, but when Addison was a little girl, seems like a very long time ago, your hair's getting curly. When Addison was maybe 2 or 3 years old, Addison Elizabeth Buell. And she was, I remember learning about the wonders of Easter. Not the resurrection. Easter baskets and Easter eggs. I think Uncle Liz and Uncle Danny spoiled her a little bit because she was just beginning to catch on about hiding eggs. We had to hide them lots of times, and she would go find them. I mean, just a little bitty girl. The basket was bigger than she was. She'd go around, and I remember in the Buell's backyard and looking for eggs. And I think Uncle Liz and Uncle Danny spoiled her a little bit because she would, this little tiny girl with this big old basket would reach down after finding an egg and pick it up. They were all normal size, but they were plastic eggs. She would hold it up to her ear like this and go. And if it didn't make a sound, throw it right back down. Just throw it on the ground, unceremoniously. Pick up another one. Because they put change, not just nickels, dimes, and quarters. It didn't take much to impress a little girl. Women know what money is at a very young age. That's why we men need to make a lot of it as we get older. They don't love you. They like your car, love your money. I'm kidding, of course. I'm just being facetious. And so she was looking for money. She knew that you could spend money. You could buy things with money. And so she was, and I think some people have donated coins and cash for our Easter egg hunt today. Some prize eggs have some money in them, don't they?
Oh, yeah.
Probably thousands of dollars. People who love Jesus more than anything else in the world. Some of them had betrayed him and some had abandoned him. Some had watched him suffer tremendously and die. You would think that's the most terrible thing that could ever happen, wouldn't you? Someone you love just tortured so viciously and so horribly. You would think that would be the most tragic, terrible thing that could ever happen to you, wouldn't you? Until Sunday morning. Now, an empty tomb means something completely different to us. To every one of them, it was adding insult to injury. They all came to the conclusion that some of Jesus' enemies had crept in and stolen his body. And not only now was Jesus dead, someone had stolen his body and it was gone. Tomb was empty. There may be empty things and empty places in your life. Empty pockets sometimes. Empty pockets. Does God love you? Does God care for you? Is the gospel true? Is the story of Jesus, does it make a difference? Does it matter? Well, sometimes we've had an empty bank account. Some of you may live in an empty house. Empty pockets. Empty bank account. You may have an empty heart. It's all very unpleasant. The world may sometimes be empty of joy or empty of pleasure or empty of sanity. It all seems to be just gone. Just gone. Why would God do that? Why would God leave that message? And if you don't think it's a message, if you don't believe it's a message, then you're mistaken. He's saying something. It's the most powerful thing that God has ever said. Sometimes when you and I look at possibilities or potentialities and nothing appears to be there at all. I have stood, listen to me, I have stood in the tomb of Joseph of Arimathea. I stood there. There were thousands of people standing outside the garden tomb waiting to get in. They would let you go in and just spend 2 or 3 minutes. I could have gone in there and stayed there the rest of my life. The tomb where Jesus was buried. He borrowed it from Joseph of Arimathea. And people would be coming in, coming out, and going in continuously. All day long, there are thousands of people there. Every color, every creed, every language, people were coming there to see. As I was stepping up onto the threshold to get my turn to go in, a very dear friend of mine was coming out. Tim Brown, his dad and mom were going to be with us on homecoming day in June. Tim was coming out, their son, coming out of the tomb. And I had my foot up on the threshold, and he had his foot on the threshold, and he was coming out. He stopped, and he looked right at my face, looked right up in my face. And with the most earnest expression on his face, with the utmost seriousness, Do you know what he said to me in passing? You know what he said to me, Tim Brown? He said, he's not there. He's not there. He's not there. I went in. He was not there. If someone came to God and gave him an empty cardboard box, kind of a packing box, okay, God, we need to convince the whole world of who Jesus is, of the truth of the gospel and why Jesus came, that Jesus was God, the Son of God. He was the Christ, the Messiah. He's the Savior of the world. Here's your box. You can put anything in that box you want to. You can fill it up with evidence and geological and archaeological proofs and written affidavits and testimonies. You can put miracles in there, eyewitness testimony. Put anything and everything that you can fit into that box, and we'll use it to reach the world. God picked up that box, he looked down into its very depths. And then he handed it back. He said, no, anything you want. And God gave him that empty box. He says, that's all I've got to say. What else could I say? And that's what God said. There's not a plaque in that tomb. There's not a trophy or a photograph or a picture. There's not even a burial cloth anymore. It's just bare and naked and empty. And someone says, but what is the proof of the resurrection? No. The resurrection is the proof. That's the proof that everything that God said through Christ is true. Look again at the empty places in your life. Think about how sad they were when they came here and Jesus was gone. What if you and I had been there greeting them that Easter Sunday morning? We'd have been a little bit too tickled, I think. We'd have been a little bit too happy. A little bit too celebrative. And we'd say, you don't understand. He's not there. It's empty. He's gone. And he is never more there and present in anything else in my life than he is the empty places. It makes a difference for me when I look at my empty pockets and my empty heart and my empty spots. The most powerful thing that God has ever said through Christ was an empty tomb. I hope God will bless you and you will find him in the empty places, because he is more than ever in the full places in your life.